Hi, everybody. I hope we will have a few more guests tonight for our last panel. I heard everyone is just excited for the after show party, but we can all go there together once you join us here. The topic of our last panel today is a sea of light and colors. So today we will talk about, are festivals not just about music and about entertainment anymore, but about an exciting space, about art shows, about pyro, about great craftsmanship. So I have very fantastic guests today. Please welcome them with a warm applause. The first one is Robert Neuendorf. Robert is the founder of Neuendorf Area. He is part of the curational team for Artville Festival, and he's a very creative person, a craftsman, and I would call him the Finn Kliman of Hamburg. Please welcome Robert. Then next we have Dan van der Voort. He's the founder of Extreme. They do large-scale inflatables for festivals. They call it tailor-made visual communication. What we both have in common is we both did law school, but I think what he has to say today is way more exciting than paragraphs. Please welcome Dan. And then we have Gina Perrier. Gina is the CEO and co-founder of La Pie. It is a female urinal for festivals and outdoor events, and maybe you have seen them over there. They're pink and look amazing. She got the idea of it for working as an architect at the Roskilde Festival, and we will find out how urinals and the topic we have for the panel today go together. Gina, welcome. So today we basically talk about fantastical new worlds, that people, when they go to a festival, they want to experience something new, they want to escape reality, they want to go into a new world and just, for 2-3 days be somewhere completely different. How does what you do at Artville, Robert, basically create that for the customers?
First of all, we start with the curational work. We look all over the world for artists and for artists that are located in Hamburg, local artists, and then we invite them, ask them if they would like to participate in our festival, and then we start to plan the whole work they do there, and then after all, in the end, if it works good, we have a nice visual and music part for the festival.
And you also do workshops before that, right? So we have some pictures here as well.
True.
So you invite people and actually teach them how to do the work that they come up with in advance as a design.
Yes, there is like 80% of the whole art exhibition is made with volunteers, and most of them are not familiar with crafting ships or anything. They come from studies and they have a free time. They just want to spend a good summer at a festival and help there. But they definitely need to have some security lessons about tools they don't know how to use. And for example, this summer I helped them with the first of all introduction into the drill, the saw, anything you need to build something good.
Cool. And then you're doing 4 weeks of Artville, right? And then you also have tours to bring like art and the people closer together.
Again, please?
So during the festival, the Artville, you also have tours, right? Where you introduce the people to the art and give them more background.
Yeah, we have like one of the main points we have in the festival or in the exhibition is to transport the art in the right way to the customers, to the visitors, and we have a very long communication in front with the artists about their art, their way of life, and anything they want to transport with it. And it's also made by volunteers. It's like another part. There is one part that constructs the work with the artists, and there is one part that communicates the art. And they have also some workshops how to talk in front of people and how to transport also political work, because we have a lot of political works there with a deeper meaning, and it works like this. Normally, you go to the festival and there is something called the Art Central in the middle of the field, and you can go there and book a tour, which is free, and then there will be one or two persons that help you guide a tour through the whole venue, and they talk about anything that's there.
Really nice and very great experience here. Now it's over. Dan, you have been in the business for many, many years, and when we come to festivals where we see some of your work, it's really fantastic. It's really like a new world and a great experience. What was back in the day your inspiration to do what you do, and how has it actually evolved over the years, and how has the demand for what you do changed?
Yeah. Do I look that old?
No, but you said you started a long time ago.
No, I started in 1994 actually. As most of the people in the inflatable business, we started to make just bouncy castles. Of course, this was only the start. Thanks to a Spanish guy, a Catalan guy, Kim Guichard, we learned about the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in '92, Barcelona. And that was an eye-opener, because it was for the first time that the inflatables were used as a decoration item for a very large event. And we started to go away from the classic bouncy castles to just decorative elements. We still make bouncy castles, but there's no limits. So designers came, concept designers, and we evolved together with our customers. And how we went into the festival business is thanks to a very small festival in 2007, which was called Tomorrowland. And those people, they've seen presentations of combinations of 2D and 3D, and they grabbed it and they put it really on the spot. And so they created the kind of dream you mentioned. So when visitors come and go to a festival, they have to dream. They need to go into a different universe, and we are only a small part of it. We combine technology, but we are responsible for the inflatable elements.
And when you say you combine it with other things, you told me some cool stuff about it. So who are the main other technologies that make your items come to life?
The inflatables as such, it's just textile in a 3D shape that is printed. The print on an inflatable can make it alive, but of course then it's a co-creation basically. It means that people from light illumination, they play a role. People that music also plays a role, of course, during a festival. So we co-create, and that's what we try to do as we can.
So then, Gina, when we talk about the space of the festival, where does La P come in right now?
Yes, well, I think when Alexander and I my co-founder and I, we were architects for Moscow Festival, and we were designing and building installations, and we were both extremely affected by the fact that there was no alternative for women that were at that time. Anytime I had to pee, it was kind of a mess, and for me and for him, it was kind of a waste of really safe and quite unhygienic, but like a lot of women do, because most of us are giving up because we can never hold back so long. We cannot wait for all those lines, and we looked a lot at the main common male urinal, which exists all over the world, which is a very, very simple product, and thought, okay, first of all, how come it doesn't exist for women yet? And then we thought, okay, then maybe let's try to do it. And we basically took all the aspects, the technical aspects of that product, like how is it transported, how is it made, how is it clean, and basically made kind of the same product, but this time shaped it so it would be used by women. So basically, Lapi is the female version of an already industrialized product which exists all over the world. And we were in very close contact with the direction of Moscow Festival, so they guided us a lot, especially for the technical aspects. And yeah, so I think we were, both of us, in this festival, in this environment, using our creativity to do installations and to try to solve issues with simple solutions. And then we really got like into this specific issue. And yeah, today we have Lapi in 17 countries in Europe, and we are helping women having better experience at festivals instead of standing in the lines.
Really cool. You said, I found that quite interesting, that nobody wants to say that they are in the toilet business. It's not a sexy topic, obviously, talking about pee and toilets. The other interesting thing then, though, is that you said you don't have to do any marketing yourself. A lot of it is about social media and people actually then organically doing the marketing kind of for you. How do all of you think that social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of the other ones, are actually driving the need to have a very Instagrammable festival, and having places at a festival where people take pictures, they take selfies, and they post it everywhere, and therefore do marketing for the festival, but also for the suppliers?
Well, I mean, when we made Lapi, we made a quite very simple shape, and we made it pink because we also thought we didn't want the urinals to be in something discreet in a dark corner, because it was part of the idea to improve also safety and make it stand also as like we are proud to pee. So we made it big and pink, and then we found out that was like maybe our best marketing tool, because then we were almost spammed with so many Instagram pictures of so many women taking selfies in the Lapi. But I think both because, of course, it's quite aesthetic, like the background is very strong pink background, but also, of course, because they were very happy that finally there was something for them. But I think, yes, it definitely, I think we didn't design it so it was Instagrammable, but we found out it was by seeing so many pictures of them. Something also even more surprising was that we discovered that some women would use a picture of themselves in Lapi on their Tinder profile. So that was a new also social media channel for us that we had never expected, was actually Tinder.
It's a match.
Yes, it's a match.
And the colors go together very well.
Yes.
And Tinder brings us also to Robert, not because we met on Tinder, but because it's the same with the Artful Festival. Because people are using also like the art actually as backgrounds, and social media for art is a very important topic.
Yeah. Somehow I found out that there is a background of an artwork which was in the public space next to the festival venue, which was very Instagrammable. It looks like a rainbow tunnel which you can go through. And there has been a lot of people using it as their background, not only on Instagram, but also on some partner profiles.
It's really good. So we
Dating
just
profile.
discovered today basically that all the dating platforms are a great marketing channel for festivals. I think that's a great finding. Then what I found interesting is that you said this is not, so we always talk about the visitors and the guests, but that this is also actually important for artists, that you have like a great setup and everything. And why is that?
I think definitely since the whole festival business in the EDM side of the business, those are the stars are DJs, and those DJs they are booked globally. So at a certain moment there's not enough there's too many festivals and the DJs can't follow, so they will definitely also decide on, okay, what festival is really cool, which one has the nicest decoration, which one is really the spot to be, and definitely that will also play a role in the decision if they can book and they will go to that festival or not. And also something about the classic stages. Those were just black boxes where artists were playing. And of course, then if you take, now everything is social media, so if you take a picture of a black box, it stays a black box. When you add decoration to it and when you add a lot of things that make it attractive visually, also the social media will react on it because they say, "Oh, cool! Where have you been? This is really nice." You'll never have that with a black box with an artist in it.
It's really interesting because I never thought about it in advance, that it's difficult also to attract the artists, right? But obviously if they're super famous and they have so many choices to which festivals they could go, that then this could be like, the greatest show, the greatest background also for their marketing, and therefore then they would choose your festival then over another.
Yeah.
When we talk about art, how important is it for you guys to include local people and to somehow include, the area where that festival is and everything that's around it, also sometimes in other countries where you are then? Do people care about that, and do they want to see something that's local, that somehow is involved with the art and the whole space construction?
It depends a bit on the size of the festival and the type of the size is really important, but of course the bigger the festival, the more you probably would go for international artists. But for smaller festivals, I think it's really like a stage for local artists. And what I think is that often an artist, when he's concerned, when he's implicated in the festival, this artist brings a different kind of view to festival, to music, to the decoration, and artists think in a different way. They think freely, and it often inspires also the whole festival to do something different in a different way, and that is really, really cool.
Can you give an example of something that you did together with an artist?
I think festivals now start to, a concrete one, I can't really say, okay, this artist on this festival, but I know that festivals, they also have to innovate, they have to think about new opportunities, and how would they get them? I think artists will play a massive role in there, and I can't give any concrete example now, but it happens all the time. It happens all the time.
You told me about this one project you had in France, I think with those lions, where the artist could actually draw on the inflatables?
It's a project for the city of Lyon, south of France. And to animate the inner city, we had to, it's the first order ever where I had to make just the shape without any decoration, and they invited the best French graffiti people, so guys who know really how to paint. And for them it was, so they were invited, it was a kind of competition where they were invited to decorate by themselves a lion 3 meters high. And for them it was an interesting exercise because normally they spray on 2D, on walls, on train, on whatever, underground. And here they could really use their skills to decorate something in 3D. And they almost fought to get a lion and really very famous graffiti artists. I don't know them personally and I don't know their names, but they loved it. They loved it.
That's really cool. Well, but I also know that most of the artists you work with, or many of them, are also local. Why is that important to you?
I think there is, I think it's like 20% of the art we show is from Hamburg, or the artists we show is from Hamburg. I don't know about the music part of the festival, how they manage it, but it's something you have to give back to the community, which is not only about graffiti in Hamburg, but for example, the district where the festival happens is in the southern part of Hamburg, and they have their own community, and if you don't invite them, they will be, I wouldn't say pissed, but it would be stupid to just put them out. So we created a guided tour through the city and to the festival together with them, and we invited the local graffiti crews from Wilhelmsburg, which is the district, and they had some off-walls, we called it. So before the festival, we managed to clear out some of the graffitis that have already been there, and we blanked them and organized some sponsorship from a spray paint brand, and we invited like all those graffiti guys, and they had a big, what is it called, Hall of Fame over there, and they had a very good afternoon, had some free booze and some nice music, and had a good time. And for all the visitors, it was interesting for them to be with a graffiti crew in contact this close, which is not easy for them without a festival like this.
True. It's really cool. So graffiti on La Pie, what do you think?
I think one I saw one that was very cute. It was like, of course, like the signing, and then like, oh, I'm so sorry, and with the sad smiley, because I think it was like a woman that really liked the pea, but she couldn't help but making a graffiti on it. And I thought that was quite cute. I mean, I think, of course, it's hard to avoid, and of course, it's not like. We also we know that the way we make this product is also we expect graffiti to be there, but also we expect it to be easy to clean because of the way our product is made. So of course it's also, I mean, it depends also a lot of where it's being placed and what is the event and how. It's a lot about the mapping. Sometimes you get them back and they are stainless, and sometimes they are completely covered. It's really, it's hard to plan. And it's always, of course, difficult for events because that's something we also charge afterwards, the cleaning of the graffiti, and it's quite a gamble. We cannot plan of how creative the people are going to be. But I think, I don't know, I think we also made it's also a funny thing because when we made also installations for Roskilde Festival, we made it with a lot of columns, and we actually almost never had graffitis on them, and that was really nice for us because we were reusing always the wood for the year after, and it was quite good that it was a little bit preserved. But I think maybe it's because there was walls a lot around that people could use more, and I think that's also the case with Lapi. I think people are also using a lot walls or other things than Lapi. But I like graffitis personally, so it's also like, it's not something I'm completely against about, but yeah, I think it's also funny because then some people also have made some paintings about Lapi, or like some young female artists, so it's also like, we are happy to be also a source of artistic, yeah, it's nice.
It's interesting. You wouldn't
It's
think it goes that far. So mainly we talk always about like the look of the festival and that it's a nice space that somehow looks different and is exciting and big and colorful. But it's also about the feeling, right? So the feeling is also part of going somewhere else, escaping into a new world. And you said, Gina, that you choose the festival that fits you and your values. And I thought that's a very powerful quote because like your values direct you then there. And I think this is also related to many trending, important topics at the moment, like equality, sustainability. And I know those are some topics that are really important to you and like to your business as well.
Definitely, and I think today there's a lot of festivals that are going to put more accent into like making a safe space, especially for women and minorities, to make like it to really make some work some really anti-violence campaign, and a lot of like those kind of efforts, and also efforts in terms of sustainability, in terms of like inclusivity. So I think, of course, I think those events will attract maybe very progressive audience that really care about those values. I definitely think what a festival reflects as values will definitely make their audience. So a festival today can kind of make their own audience, of course, by the lineup also, and but of course by the whole mindset they have around.
Yeah. And when we talk about sustainability, I think that's also for you guys important. So then back in the day, right, you had like large, it wasn't inflatable, it was large figures out of polystyrene, right? And now these days the air goes out, you can wrap it up and then reuse it next year. Why is that important to you guys and sustainability in general?
Well, one of the sayings was that inflatables are ecological products. It's a question of shaping textile in a specific shape. You just need only a little of electricity, and it's filled with air. Compared to other 3D elements that are made in polystyrene, those are really polluting items. And afterwards, if you have to store those items, well, you need like this hall. Some of the organizers, they have like several 10,000 of square meters of space, and they store all their goodies. And the advantage since the beginning of the company was that inflatables, it's really compact, it's easy to install. You just need electricity. Although electricity sometimes might have an issue during a festival, but most of the time that's really solved fast, and then it inflates itself pretty fast again. So for us, it's one of our key performance indicators that the inflatable should be reusable, easy to store, easy to transport, and ecological.
And Robert, I know for you guys, the nature is also important, right? So once the festival is over and like all of the stuff that's been there and you remove it, the nature really suffers. How do you deal with that? And you also have like very large sculptures, right? So it's not inflatable, so you have like stuff from wood and very large things. What do you do with them?
Yeah. I think, as you know, wood is pretty expensive nowadays. And and especially this year, it was a hard time for us to get some budgets and to create some new works. So we talked to our wood supplier, and they just moved their warehouse to another part of Hamburg. So their old warehouse has been taken down. And some of the crew members went over there, and while they were taking down the whole structure, except like something like this warehouse here, but made from wood from the 50s, they spent some days. I mean, I think they've been there for a whole week just to take down old wood from the 50s to reuse it for some constructions we built at the festival site. We have a big storage on the venue, and due to this new amount of wood we had to totally rearrange the whole storage, which was pretty strange for us because every day we went there and the wood was gone somewhere else. And normally it works like this. We invite the artists and they come over and they have their idea in the mind, and sure, you can plan everything in front, but sometimes they just skip over the whole idea, and you have to work with the new ideas. And then we show them our storage and say, okay, this is the stuff we have, and now you come up with a new idea. Do whatever you want. And it's always about the budget, I think. Like when I started to work for the festival, we built a big tower which looks like some colored boxes on top. I think it was in the video in the beginning. And when we planned it, we had this very small amount of budget. And the wood I used to be painted was some very thin lined wood, and I already knew next year it will be gone due to the weather and to the nature. And suddenly my boss came in and he flipped out because he said it needs to be reusable for the next years. And I said, yeah, sure, but then you have to give me a little bit more of money, then we can use thicker wood and some other paint, and it will be last for, not forever, but for the next few years. And we had a big discussion in the team about this. So it doesn't need to be everything every year. Doesn't have to be something new for the audience. It's also good to make them used to things and reinvent them about the whole idea. You can talk about new things in front of it. But about all the constructions we are taking down when they are done to the weather, we try to use them for the next years. So I think that's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
And so when you say, so sustainability is one topic that's important to people, but you also said, Robert, that for you it's important that people take something with them when they leave a festival. So I think when we think about like the space and it looks fancy and everyone has pictures that way that, will always remind them of the space, is one thing, but the other thing is also, do you take a feeling, do you take something that you learned? Because this is also part of that package somehow to make that one festival very unique. And that's also what you guys are doing, right?
Yes, definitely. I think you have something like an educational part to give something to the audience that they have to take home. I think maybe 40% of the art we show is pretty political, and it's now not our way of thinking, it's the way of the artist that's represented by us. But I don't have an idea or example right now, but there was an artist from Freiburg, Robin Gommel, and he built a big castle that was called Fortress Europe. for example. And it was 3 years ago, I think, when we invited him. And the walls he built were made out of plexiglass, so you can look through them. And in these boxes, in the middle of it, was just shredded money, euros. And you don't see him at first sight. You just stand in front of it, and it was like a box that was made like 3 by 3 by 3 meters, and you can't climb over it, especially because there was a barbed wire fence all over the whole thing, and in the middle of it there was a European flag waving in the wind. And first impression was, okay, it's just a big wall that looks like a castle from back in the days. But when you get closer to it, you see it's not just a blue color, it's just shredded money. And it was actually pretty easy for him to get it. From the banks, he just called them and said, I need like 100 kilo of shredded money. And they said, yeah, okay, when do you need it? Because for them, it's just trash. And yeah, I think, for example, this was a good work which people made to think about the whole European problems to the rest compared to the rest of the world. Yeah, education.
Education. Shredded money from the bank. I never heard that before. It's insane. But Gina, I know for you this is also an important topic, right? And talking about also like politics, basically, like some of the topics that are important to you, like also female empowerment and equality and safe spaces. That's also something that is educational in the long run for what you guys do, right?
Yes, definitely. And I think it's quite an easy educational product because it answers a very, very basic and obvious need and no one can really contest, especially within festivals. Everyone is aware of the issue for women to pee. And we answer that problematic in a very simple way. And I think that kind of, that's a very soft invitation to a more political subject of gender equality and a whole kind of feminism which is behind the product. So I think it's really an easy step to get people to think about it. It starts a conversation. Also by the fact, as I said before, that it's very visible instead of like hidden. There's really it's really something that people can just really wonder about and start a conversation that can go much further than just a urinal.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And talking about like all these experience of look and feel and how it then all comes together and has an impact for later on. When you think about the events you guys have been to, or like festivals, or it doesn't even have to be a festival, but where have you seen things that impressed you, or where you thought, this is something that really left an impression for me that I still remember up to today?
Well, I really remember the struggle of not being able to pee. I think that was really something that we were so affected by, and that really made us think about, and of course start this project, but very on a deep basis, and also start to talk a lot about, to also realizing that a lot of women would maybe not drink an extra beer because of the toilet situation, that actually a lot of them would even go home because of this. I started realizing that some of my friends had actually told me that that's actually the reason why they stopped going to some of the festivals, because the situation for peeing is so bad. So I think it's really like I remember that being such a big unfairness feeling that of course made us start this whole project.
So guys, now you know how comfortable you have been all these years. Can you think of examples, something good or something bad that really left an impression?
What always surprises me and what makes me emotional even is when the artist or the DJs when everything fits right, the decoration, the music, the sound, light, everything is fine. When there's a kind of thrill that goes through the visitors, and they all start to act alike. They sometimes go left to right and whatever, and that kind of mass spirit always surprises me, and I think that's why we love this business that much, because that is the gut feeling you need to have when you went to a festival, and when something magic happens with the whole group of people, even if there's 100,000 people together. That's something that is really driving me, and that's why I love this job.
And it's cool because it still gets you so excited to know that we can feel the excitement.
I'm a bit hungry for some new.
Nice.
some
Boba,
new
can you think of
festivals.
something?
The first thing that came into my mind was the Lake at Garbage Festival, which is pretty cool and a very special venue. But I think there are better festivals somewhere in the world. But I really like this lake and how they created a very artistic and architectural way to work with the venue, with the nature all over the Garbage Festival. I like that.
Nice. Sometimes it's the simple things like nature, which is also good.
Yeah, nature.
Looking at the time, so if anyone, there's not many people here, but if anyone has a question, I think there's supposed to be a microphone somewhere where you should go. If not, just raise your hand and I'll pick it up. Otherwise, what do you guys think are some of the trends for the next 5 years? So what are topics that will come up? What's technology that will boom in the festival industry? Do you have ideas? Or also the plans that you might have?
Well, I think there's still differences between countries and the level of co-creation. I think there's more traditional countries where there's still a lot of co-creation to do. And co-creation, I mean, yeah, the stage building in metal, the wood, the textiles, the prints, LED screens, firework. I think those combinations, they will become really common, but there's still a long way to go. And what will bring the future? I don't know what other technologies might come. Maybe festivals will become something completely in your sleeping room with goggles on and with music. But I don't think so, but it might happen at a certain moment. But there's I think artists and the idea of the workshops, Robert, that you just mentioned, I haven't seen that a lot. And I think apart from the memories and apart from the thrill, I think trying to make people do something really positive, it might also be something innovative to it. And people might look for that to do something useful, even if you know that you go to a festival and it's not the most ecological thing you can do in your life. But making it balanced, it might really be, I think it's a very good idea. I haven't seen it so far in festivals that I've been visiting all over.
I think definitely a lot of VR and a lot of more 3D technologies, also both in the sound, like I think more 3D sound systems and things like that. And I think a lot more sustainability-minded project and more awareness in terms also of gender equality and more women on stage and things like this. I mean, I guess as a good trend, I hope that's going to be the trend.
I can totally agree. I think there is a lot of VR going on in the next years. That's what we also discuss in the team at Artville Festival. I think, or I hope, that sustainability is going to be a big thing, because due to the world market, wood is very expensive. All the materials you need are very expensive. So it's probably just the mindset that needs to change from the people that arrange festivals. that they have to reuse some things, and it doesn't have to be all the time super new, and next year it's going to the trash and they build something new up. And gender equality, sure, definitely. It's also a big topic in our team that we have the same amount of women in the artists venue we show, and diversity is a big thing.
Yeah,
Very
all
important.
good topics.
And I think there's going to be a huge trend for female urinals. I can really see it coming.
To be honest,
I
we
agree.
were looking for an idea like this in Hamburg.
Yes?
Definitely, we tried to build something, but didn't really work out.
You can always call us.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
Actually, a long time ago, I had seen at the architecture festival in 2012. They had made some it was the first time I saw some kind of female urinal, but it was like an installation.
Okay.
And at that time, because there was not that much pressure on the toilet,
Yeah.
so I didn't understand the right point of it. But it was also very, it was very like things put together on site, the installation. And but later on, when I experienced the real struggle at festivals, then I thought back about that time where I was like, I actually tried a female urinal before. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, there was, of course, there had been tests before, and always like some kind of like installation built on site, but never something scalable, and always something like always presented as a test, years after years, always a test. And I think that was also what needed to happen, was to make it a scalable solution. Yeah, but it's funny you brought it up that you tried it out, you were about to try it as well.
Yeah, we built something made out of these bowls you have for cows, to be honest.
Yes.
Or for horses, I think. When they have to drink, they stick their hand into it and there's water coming out. And that's what they used, I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, but that sounds quite interesting.
Right, I'm back. Coughing on stage during Corona times, it was the water. I was thinking, so when I think about the festivals that I went to, I also think about the people and the community that you have there. And usually where you meet them is in the camping area, right? And so they're the neighbors in the next tent, and in the mornings you sit there, you drink together, you laugh. And this is actually an area where people spend a lot of time, right? Before they go to the music and to the festival event area. Why are those areas always very plain and boring? Like many times there's nothing there. Sometimes you have to walk 30 minutes to the event area. And there's also sometimes nothing there. Is that also something where there's a lot of opportunity actually to build the whole thing as one crazy, fantastic world?
Yeah, actually, it's a funny thing because when we started doing installations with Alexander, we were asked to make a bench between a stage and the camping area, and there was 100 meters long space by 50 meters with literally nothing. And we had a very, very low budget, but we used a lot of raw wood and made for 100 meters, kind of a forest of columns with benches that were connecting them and some kind of scaffolding fabric on the top to make some shade. And it was so funny to see how a simple project, very cheap, could activate a whole area which was usually used for nothing and just people walking through. Then suddenly it was almost a village. It's really, I think there's definitely so much to do in camping areas because I think with very simple material and solutions, you can actually do a lot in these places.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, those campings, after all, I think they are becoming really economically very, very important for big festivals. Because if you have a small temporary village of 35,000 people sometimes, it's really like a small, medium-sized city. Those are really the hardcore believers of a festival, and those people often they do once a camping, and then next year they do it again. So they're very faithful customers for festivals. I think some organizers really are animating those people. For example, I Tomorrowland again, but they start with a private party only for the camping people the day before the festival really opens up officially. And they have specific sponsors that can interact with the people present during the whole 3 days of the festival. So I think that the classic camping where there's nothing to do, I think if they have a vision, really the festival organizers should concentrate on that people, because they are hardcore. They will communicate with it. They live life. They meet people. Part of their memories are probably a lot stronger than plenty of people who go for one evening to a festival, because they lived it.
True. Robert, more ideas. We want ideas.
I think a awareness team is pretty important on the festival, not only on the festival field itself, but also on the camping site. And I know that it's pretty common nowadays, but I don't know about the biggest festivals, if they have an awareness team, if they care about it. I think that's also a point for the future. And I just had the idea that maybe you just put some construction stuff, like fabrics or some plain wood next to the camping site, and you see what the visitors will do with it. Like they build their own favela or something. Like I really like the idea. And I know for myself, when I go to a festival, creating this whole camping area for me and my friend, like this our area thing, it would be nice to have some free stuff to build something. And maybe it lasts and they have some ideas for the next year, I don't know.
I like that idea. It's really cool.
Kind.
So looking at the time and at the crowd, does anyone have a question? We answered them all. We are so good. We do. Okay, so then my last question is, we talk about so much stuff happening and excitement, and it's loud, it's colorful, it's big, there's so many topics, it's political. Do you think sometimes people just want to go, listen to music, and go home again? And sometimes they need the quiet and say, you know, I can't deal with all this noise anymore.
May I? This year we invited two florists from Hamburg. They work with plants, and they created something like a calm down space in another part of the festival area where normally the campsite is, which was not used this year because we didn't have a camp on the festival this year. So they kind of carved their way into the woods, which was in a small forest, and they created something like an old tribe, ancient time, calm down yoga space. I don't know. It took only 2 days or 3 days, and when I had some stress during the production in front of the festival, before the festival, I always went there to calm down, which was always the time when the sun went down and the whole day ended. That was my calm down area.
Sounds really nice. I want to go there now. What do you guys think?
Well, again, it's some festivals really concentrate on that nature, cool, bit alternative way of inviting people and having visitors, and also in the selection of the music. But I think the larger festivals, you have different stages, and some of the stages might be, as you were mentioning, Robert, in the middle of the woods, and really with cool music, nothing blasting. I think it's when you have several stages and the visitors can walk from one stage to another one, and they really want to see one particular artist on the main stage. Well, they have plenty of time if they stay longer to visit all the stages, and I'm sure that those cooler stages where the music is not pumping that loud, it also has its success because they can chill out for some hours and then take it to the next level again.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more and more, I think, festivals that are making an extra effort in affording places where some people that maybe have some more quiet needs can still want to stay. Like they have more and more like that, those kind of maybe more luxurious tents to offer, or like area, yeah, silent and clean, or things like this. So I think I think because they actually really want people to stay no matter what their luxury taste is. So I think they really are now, I think, more and more offering different kind of options, more or less comfortable.
Glamping.
Glamping, exactly. Yes.
So very nice. We can call him glamping tent over there. It looks very cozy.
Yeah.
All right, so our time is up. Do you have any last famous words you want to share?
I'm looking strongly forward to next year.
Thought you were going to say the after show party.
An after show party as well, of course. And yeah, hopefully we'll all get our lives back, and I'm sure it will happen. We just need to be a bit patient, but people will party.
We're also looking forward next year, and if you want to see Lapi in real life, we have it right there at the stand. So please come and visit us and try out our Lapi.
Also looking forward to next year. in December, we in the team we have we rented a house in the Wendland, which is south of Hamburg, and we will go there to have a curational meeting, and we discuss about the whole next year, and I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds good. I think also here going through the space and seeing so many great people having so much cool things to offer for festivals, you know, I think it's the whole set. So one thing is the visuals, one thing is the feeling and values, one thing is also, you know, it's also great drinks, right? And it's also having a great option to pee. And I was really impressed when I went through here, and I thought there's so much stuff that's happening for festivals, and we at Share want to do a festival next year also, so I have a lot of inspiration here. And I thought, this is cool, you know, all of this should be part. And then you have like the whole experience from A to Z, which is just, you know, why you go there, and for like 1, 2, or 3 days, just forget, you know, the rest of the world and your work and everything that sucks, just have a really good time. So thank you guys for being here. Everyone, please a very warm applause again for Robert Neundorf, Gina Perrier, and Dan van der Forte. It was great to have you here. It was a very good panel, and I think now we all go for drinks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.